Hey guys, welcome to a new episode. I want to encourage you to maybe just like and subscribe to this channel if you like marketing and business content, purely because that's what I'll be sharing, and I'll do my best at being as clear and precise and valuable to you as possible. That is also why we have this new setup. Let me know if you like this style of videos, purely because if you don't, then we probably wasted a lot of money. But I'm the person who just learns and processes information and stores information a lot easier when I see it in front of me. And when someone explains it and they can, create a little bit of context by drawing, that obviously speeds up the information processing and storing capability of my brain. And hopefully it does the same to your brain as well. And therefore we can dive into today's lesson and video, if you will. So guys, in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about how your brand, the brand that you're building, can affect your cost per acquisition. You see, early on in my journey, I was just focused on building funnels and direct response marketing, which is like do everything possible in order to get R2 back from the R1 that you've invested. And direct response is a great way to do that. Building funnels, capturing attention, by squeezing people into a landing page or a sales page, whatever you want to call it. But over time, I started realizing that brand actually has a huge impact on the actual cost of acquisition of the business. So in a hypothetical scenario, if you're building funnels and you have like a very good direct response strategy dialed in, you might be paying, let's say, 500 Rand a customer. With brand, essentially, you can lower that cost per acquisition quite a bit. However, it costs a lot of time and money to build brand. And I think I've come to the conclusion, since we've been investing in businesses under V8 Capital, we've probably got about 8 to 9 companies in that division now that we've invested in. We started realizing that brand is really, really crucial. And if you spend a lot of time on brand, you might not have a direct ROI in the first, let's say 2, 3, 6, 12, maybe even 24 months. But over time, that will start to help you generate leads and sales, whatever you do as a business, organically, and it can help you lower the cost per acquisition because of the trust and credibility that you have in the market. I reflect back on a time when we were working with USN, and we had a sports nutrition brand that was unknown, and we started working with USN at the same time. And what happened was, the one brand was paying 300 Rand a customer, the other brand, USN, in this example, was paying, like, I can't remember, hypothetically, 80 Rand a customer. And I was like, holy crap, that actually is a huge difference. But it's because people knew who they were. It's taken them a lot of time and money to build that brand, but they were now in a fortunate position where that was actually generating customers at a much lower cost than their competitors. And that's why I believe that brand is just ROI positive, ideally, and you want to do both. So for today's lesson, I'm going to quickly unpack just a little bit about how you can try and position yourself in the market, and how the way you brand yourself can affect your cost per acquisition. Now, for those of you that don't know, cost per acquisition is really what we call CPA. So CPA. And what CPA basically stands for is the amount of money you have to spend in order to acquire a customer. That is your cost per acquisition. That is CPA. You ideally want to spend as little as possible in order to get as many of these as possible. So that would mean, if you get that right, that you have a profitable business, because your expenses on the marketing side is not as much, but you have a lot of money coming in from customers, which naturally will give you more profit. So that's the idea of cost per acquisition. You want cost per acquisition to be as low as possible, and that will indirectly mean that you have a higher, what we call ROAS. I'm sure you all know this, which is return on ad spend, the revenue that you're making back from the advertising. And it will also increase what we call your POAS, which is your profit on ad spend. So just the overall profitability of the business as a whole. So that is basically what cost per acquisition is. Now that we know that, let's talk a little bit about how you can try and position yourself in a market and create brand for yourself in order to ensure you have the lowest cost per acquisition. Okay, so in order to explain that, I'm going to draw a little chart here for us. And this chart will have two axes. The one axis will be our CPA, which is our cost per acquisition, and the other one will just be time. Nothing special, but basically we need to understand that we're living in a world where cost per acquisition is rising every single year. Why? Inflation, number one, but also a lot of people are jumping onto the digital platforms. A lot more people are spending money on Google. A lot more people are spending money on Meta. Big brands are jumping on these channels. They obviously now know how important it is in order to stay relevant and to grow a business, obviously, as well. 10 years ago, that wasn't the case. So small businesses were, could very easily scale to massive success. Today, it gets harder and harder because obviously cost per acquisition goes up over time. And that's also why it's crucial for you as a business owner to innovate how you position your company and your brand in the market so that you can ensure that you have the lowest CPA possible. So we're going to come back to this chart in a second. Before we do, I kind of just have to explain something very simple to you. And that is that, in my opinion, when it comes to your competitors, there are three different categories that you're going to find yourself in as a brand. And essentially, those three categories are the following. The first one is, are you the only one in the market that offers the specific solution that you have? Or are you the only one in the market that is catering to that specific pain point? Ideally, if you are, that's good. You ideally want to be the brand, or the only, if not one of the only brands, that does something a specific way, that takes care of a specific pain point or problem or adds benefit to someone's life. Because essentially it means that people can't go anywhere else, so they have to come to you. So naturally, if you advertise, your cost per acquisition will be low. Why? Because there are no competitors to steal your customers, okay? So if you're the only one in the market, you will naturally have, an advantage from a marketing standpoint, and therefore your cost per acquisition will be low. The second one is if you are the best one. So some people might not be the only one in the market that's taking care of, that specific demographic persona, target audience in a specific way, but they might be the best. Okay, maybe they have superior quality, superior service, shipping rates, doesn't really matter, but somehow they're the best for some specific reason. And if that's you, good, but that's a silver and not a gold. And then the third thing is when you are the same as everybody else. So from my experience, those are the three categories that you're going to find yourself in as a brand or as a business. Now, ask yourself a question. Where do you see yourself at the moment? Are you the only one taking care of that specific pain point or adding that specific value or benefit to the target market? Are you maybe the best one? So you might have a few competitors, but you are the best at doing that. Somehow, in a measurable way, you can maybe claim that you are. Or are you just the same as everybody else? Meaning that you have the exact same price, exact same service, and you are what we call in a red ocean. So if you've read the book, a book called Blue Ocean Strategy, don't know by who, very cool book, talks about how to stand out in the marketplace, creating a USP, creating a new market for yourself, basically because of that USP. Really cool book. But in this case, if you are the same as everybody else, you will find yourself in a red ocean, and it's called the red ocean because all the sharks are basically eating each other for food. There's a lot of blood, which means there's a lot of competition, competitors gnawing at your margins or eating your customers, I don't know. But that's basically just a lot of blood. You don't want to be there, it's not good. So 3 categories when it comes to building a brand. Are you the only one, the best one, or just the same as everybody else? Okay, so now that we know what those 3 categories are, here is how I've seen, based on the data that we have. We've worked now with over 500 businesses since 2018, if not more. We've done over probably close to 4 billion, 3-4 billion now in sales. I need to update our website for those who are checking that out regularly. So this is what we've seen, what happens. If you are the only one in the market, your CPA will be quite low, okay? That's in the beginning. So we've got time. So let's say this is your first month in business, and then we've got obviously how much it's going to cost you in acquisition. So it's not going to be very high, it's going to be quite low because you're the only one taking care of that essentially. And I think back in 2008, when was it, 2020, 21? As a marketing agency, we were really one of the only e-commerce focused agencies. Now we do obviously different industries, but we went hard into e-commerce, and we were the only company to go into e-commerce. There was no other agency that specialized in e-commerce the way we did. And we were very proud of that. And when we did, the cost of acquiring clients at the time was very affordable. It was very, very cost effective. Because why? We were the only one doing it. So if you're the only one doing it, you're going to see that your cost per acquisition does this. It's going to rise over time, obviously over the years, but it's going to stay relatively low in comparison to if you are most likely the best one. So if you're the best one, you'll find that your cost per acquisition is a little bit higher, but in essence, it's also going to go up over time. And you ideally want to be there. But that's where most people find themselves. They claim to be the best at something. If you are the same as everybody else, you're going to find yourself over here. And your cost per acquisition is going to look like that. So the reason why this is so important to understand is because if you're not spending a lot of time on being the best or being the only one taking care of a specific solution, then you'll find yourself over here. And you don't want to be there because it means that you are going to pay more than everybody else in order to acquire a customer. Your CPA is going to be high. And if your CPA is high, for every customer that you acquire, your profitability is going to be low. And you can only build a solid business and grow a business if you make profit. Revenue doesn't cover the bills. It mainly just covers buying new stock. What covers operating expenses, what covers staff expenses, what covers marketing is profit. So essentially, you want to be over here, or at least over there. You might not be the only person in the market that's taking care of a specific problem, but if you can be the best one at it. So now the question is, if you want to start working on how to become the best in your market, I think it's just a matter of asking yourself this question. And that question is, very simple. Go and write down, say, we are the best at. Now, I want you to go and figure out what you're going to be the best at. What are your competitors doing that you can improve on? Is it service? Meaning that the way you respond to clients on WhatsApp, or maybe you have a personal touch by phoning all the clients who buy from you. Maybe you send them their florist hampers. Maybe you're just really effective with your service in terms of when people order, they get it very, very quickly. Or maybe you have very affordable shipping rates. All these things can help you stand out from everybody else and lower your cost per acquisition. Maybe it's service, or maybe it's quality. The problem is a lot of people scream quality, but quality, guys, is subjective. So if you are going to claim that you have better quality, you need to ask yourself, what data do you have to back it up? Like, what information do you have that you can present to the public on your site or on your ads or on your marketing channels that you are actually officially the best? Because if you're going to say superior quality, guess what? Nobody's going to care. Why? Because that's what everybody says. And you don't want to be like everybody, because then you find yourself here again. So if you're going to say superior quality, guess what? You're going to be right over there with a high cost per acquisition. Why is our cost per acquisition so high? We told everybody we have the best quality. Yeah, people don't care because you can't prove that you have the best quality. So if you're going to say quality, you're going to have to back it up. And another thing could be price. So maybe you are the most affordable. Maybe you have the most value for money. So we did that for one of our businesses that we invested in as V8 Capital, and we went into a very competitive market. But what happened was we just said to ourselves, we're going to offer the most amount of value for the least amount of money, and that's our USP. And we found a way to make that profitable. So that's the video for today. I want to conclude with the fact that branding is really crucial. How you position yourself in the market is crucial. And ideally, there are three things that you can consider. Those three things are you the only one taking care of that specific pain point, solution, offering that benefit? Ideally, you want to be, because that's going to help you with your cost per acquisition. Are you the best one? Well, then you're going to have to prove to people that you actually are. Or are you just the same as everybody else? And if you are essentially the only one, you will have a low cost per acquisition. That is obviously if you run the ads appropriately and correctly, right? There's a lot of variables that's going to go into that cost per acquisition. But let's say you've got competent people taking care of your marketing, then that should be the case. There could be other variables still affecting this, but more about that in another video. Lastly, if you're the best, still good enough, you probably still can make it profitable. But if you're the same as everybody else, good luck making it profitable, good luck building a sustainable business, and good luck making profit for you and the people around you, your family, and so forth. It's going to be a tough time. Hope there was value in this video. If there was, maybe just drop a comment and let me know. I really enjoy this type of videos. Do you? If you don't, then we've wasted a lot of money. But I might still continue doing it because it helps me, solidify this information as well. So I love it. Hopefully you love it too. I want to encourage you to tune in for the next video. Maybe hit the notification bell if you want to be updated or notified when I do share a video like this again. And then I want to say much love. Have a great rest of your day, wherever you find yourself. And I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.